What's up, everybody? I'm Daniel Kaufman, and this is Nate Kaminsky of Best Buy Guide Service. I went out fishing with Nate a couple weeks ago. If you guys haven't seen that video, the link will be up over Nate's left shoulder. Point to it, Nate. Right over there. Click that. Check it out. It's a good video. We had some fun out there on Lake Michigan. And today, Nate is going to show me how to smoke some fish.
One of the biggest questions I get when I'm out fishing with people on charter trips is, what do I do with my catch? Well, you can grill it, but one of the best things to do if you have an excess of fish is to smoke it. It lasts longer and it's a nice treat all year round. First thing you're going to need is your fresh fish. This is a king salmon I caught yesterday. You're also going to need some kosher or canning salt. You do not want normal table salt, that will ruin your fish. You want kosher or canning salt, that's really important. You're also going to need some brown sugar, doesn't matter if it's light or dark, but brown sugar. You're also going to want some type of seasoning for the fillets before you treat it with the brown sugar and salt. We're going to do Cajun seasoning today, but you could do anything you want. If you want Montreal steak or whatever you like, that works. We're going to do Cajun today. And then at the end, you're going to do some type of glaze on the smoked fish. We're going to do a simple mixture of honey and soy sauce today. Once again, there's a lot of different glazes out there, but that's the one I like. It's simple, turns out good every time.
Sounds delicious. Let's smoke some fish.
Let's do it. Alright, so the very first step that we're going to do is we're going to take our fillets and we're going to place them in some of these little Tupperware containers. These are just like $1 a piece or something. You can get them Walmart, Walgreens, anything like that. We're going to lay the fillets skin down in here and then add our Cajun seasoning right to the meat so that the meat can soak up some of that flavor before we add our brine to it. So that's step number one. Take our nice fillets here, and yes, I did wash my hands before I started this. So this is just from one fish. It's the two tail sections and then the two forward sections. We're just going to do one fish today. Most smokers could hold a little more than this, but that'll be enough for today. So we're going to take our Cajun seasoning and just pretty simple, just shake a bunch on there. There's really no precise measurement here. You like more seasoning, put more on. If you don't like so much, you don't have to put a bunch. You don't have to put any either, but I prefer a little bit of seasoning. Alright, so that's it. You've got your fillets all seasoned up. We're going to let these sit for 10-15 minutes while we prepare our brine. We are doing a dry brine today. There's also wet brines, but I like the dry brine. A little cleaner, a little easier, and we'll go through that next. So while we're letting the seasoning seep into the fillets here, we are going to prepare our brine. Our brine is just our mixture of our kosher salt and our brown sugar. I do a dry brine. There are people that do a wet brine as well, which is basically just adding water. But I find that the dry brine is easier, it's cleaner, and it's just one less step to do, so that's what we're going to do. I just do an even 50-50 mixture of your brown sugar and your salt. If you like your fish a little saltier, do like 60% salt. If you like your fish a little sweeter, do like 60% brown sugar. But you want it somewhere around 50-50. So we'll just add a couple cups of brown sugar in here. I think probably we'll do 3 cups of each, and that should be plenty. If you have a little extra, this stuff isn't the most expensive stuff in the world, so you can afford to throw a little away. But we'll do 3 cups of brown sugar, and then we will do 3 cups of salt. Once again, very important that you use kosher or canning salt. Do not use normal table salt, it will ruin your fish. So we'll do 3 cups of this, and then we're just going to mix this all up. Get it nice and evenly mixed. Like I said, I think the easiest way is just to do it with your hands. You could use a spoon if you want, but I washed my hands before I did this, and we'll just keep mixing until it's nice and evenly distributed. Don't want any heavy pockets of salt or heavy pockets of sugar. You want it all nice and evenly mixed so you get a nice even coating on your fillets. Pretty simple stuff. So now we've got that all nice and evenly mixed up. This is about the color and mixture that you're looking for. So now that we've got our fillets pre-seasoned here and we've got our brine all mixed up, this is the really easy part. We're just going to take handfuls of this dry brine and put it all over the fillets. You want to get a nice good coating over the whole fillet because this is what's going to cure your meat out. You don't want really any meat showing that isn't covered in this mixture. It's like we made just the right amount here. A little excess is fine, you just don't want to underdo it. You want to make sure that you have these things completely covered. And we came out with the perfect amount, so that's great. Alright, that's pretty much it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit in the fridge covered. Grab our covers here. We're going to cover them up. And we're going to let these sit anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. It kind of depends how much you like your smoked fish cured. I like mine done quite a bit. I don't like it mushy in the middle at all. Some people do. But we're going to let these sit for at least 12 hours. And every couple of hours what you're going to do is you're going to come and you're going to rotate the fillets. Right now they're skinned down on the bottom of the tray, and in a couple of hours what this is going to do is the brine's going to draw all the moisture out of the fillets and you're going to see liquid start to develop in the bottom here. When that happens, you're going to take and you're going to flip each of these fillets so that it's meat side down. Let it sit for a couple hours and then flip them back again. You do that every couple hours for, like I said, 12 to 18 hours is a good estimate. It kind of depends on the thickness of the fillets. If you have nice thick fillets, you probably want to go more towards that 18 hours. If you've got some thinner, let's say coho, maybe rainbow fillets, those don't need quite as long. But 12 to 18 hours is a good rule of thumb, and you'll just have to put them in your fridge and monitor them. Every couple hours, just give them that flip.
Now that the salmon has been sitting for a few hours, we are going to be flipping them just like Nate's directions. Just taking a look at this, there is a ton of moisture that has been sucked out. Nate said this would be happening. Let's give these guys a turn. And we're going to let them sit for a few more hours. The salmon has now been curing overnight. You can see there is a lot of liquid that has gathered at the bottom of these bins. We're going to give it one last flip and then head over to Nate for the smoking process.
Alright, day 2 of the smoking process. Danny babysitted these all night. As you can see, it's extracted almost all the liquid from the fillets. He flipped them a bunch of times, and now what we're going to do is we're going to rinse the excess brine off of these. So all you do, take them to your sink, under some cold water, take the fillet out, and just rinse some of that extra brine off. You don't have to soak them, just rinse them real quick. And then you can feel they're nice and firm now. They're cured. So the meat gets really firm. And we're going to throw them on a drying rack. We'll do the same thing with all 4 fillets. Just a light rinse, get some of that extra brine off. Nice and firm. You want them to firm up quite a bit. If they still feel soft, they probably need more time. These are nice and firm. You don't have to go crazy with the rinsing. You just want to get some of that extra brine off of there. And once you've got them on the rack, I just take a little paper towel and blot them real lightly just to get some of that extra moisture off. And then we're going to let these sit here for about an hour just so they dry off. In the meantime, we're going to get the smoker all fired up, get some nice smoke rolling in it, but we're just going to let these air dry like that for about an hour. So there's basically 3 types of smokers on the market. This is an electric one. They also make propane ones and charcoal ones. Propane and electric are the easiest in my opinion just because you can regulate the temperature easiest. I had a propane one before this one, but the problem with that is it seems inevitable you'll be halfway through smoking something and you run out of propane. So my suggestion is go with an electric. They work pretty slick. The only problem is you can't use them in really cold weather, but I don't tend to smoke stuff when it's freezing outside. So electric works good. When you smoke fish, you're going to cold smoke it. So something you need in your smoker is right here. This is a water tray. I'll fill this up with water and that'll help keep the temperature down a little bit. You want to smoke fish around 150 degrees. You don't want to smoke it at the same temperature that you would meat. The other thing is, if you're going to smoke fish, you kind of need to dedicate a smoker to it. Believe it or not, I do clean this every once in a while, but you will never get the fishy smell out of there. If you smoke fish in a smoker and then throw, a set of ribs in there, they're going to taste fishy. So dedicate a smoker to fish. Don't try to mix and match them. That's kind of a good tip there. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill up the water tray here. This is just some cold water. It does evaporate a little bit as you smoke, so you may have to top it off every once in a while. And then the other tray here is where we're going to put our chips. Today we're going to use some apple wood chips. They sell hickory wood chips, mesquite wood chips, all sorts of different types, but apple gives it kind of a nice flavor, but they're all pretty good. So we are going to fill this little tray here with the apple chips. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get this thing not preheated, because like I said, you don't really want a hot smoker, but we're going to get a nice bit of smoke rolling here before we introduce the fish to it. So we're just going to slide this back in here and let the cabinet fill up with smoke before we ever introduce the fish to it. That way, by the time we put our fish in, it's all nice and smoky already. Let's shut the door, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to crank the temperature up for a while just to get that smoke rolling. The problem with smoking fish sometimes is that you don't want it too hot, but it takes a certain amount of heat to get the smoke rolling. So it's kind of a fine balance there between not too hot and hot enough to get the coals rolling. So that's another reason I preheat it, is I get it cranked up, get it real smoky. I'll introduce the fish, and then we'll back the temperature. So our fillets have air dried. They're just slightly tacky now, nice and firm, so they're ready to go on the smoker. The smoker's rolling. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in here, and then we're going to turn the temperature way down. So Danny, if you want to give me a hand and hold these. Now you can load the smoker way up. We're just doing one fish today, but you can fit a lot more than that in here. Will take a little bit longer to smoke if you add a bunch more, but put these in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door, turn the temperature way down, and I'm just going to monitor it constantly, make sure the temperature doesn't get much above 150 degrees, and rotate them about every hour or so. I'll rotate the racks, and that's about it.
I'm going to put links in the video description for smokers like this. I just looked it up on Amazon. It's about $140 for this smoker. So head down there if you want to purchase a smoker.
Alright, so the fish has been in there for about an hour. We're going to take a look, see how it's doing, and then we're going to rotate it. Looking good. Just see them starting to change color a little bit. That's after about an hour of cooking. So we're going to give the racks a little rotate now. Just swap them one to the other and keep them going. Alright, so all we're going to do to rotate is just take this bottom one, put it up top for right now. Slide this one down, slide the next one down, put this one back on top. Also just going to give a little check to our coals here. Still doing okay. Plenty of smoke left in those. And those are back up. Alright, so we are now about 2.5 hours into the smoking process. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the fish again and add some new wood chips, because I can tell that we're starting to lose some smoke here, but let's see how we're doing. Looking pretty good. They're about halfway there. We're 2.5 hours in, and I expect these to take right around 4.5 hours. So I'm going to do another rotate and add some more chips down. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank up the heat for a while, get these chips smoking good, and then I'll close it and back the heat down again. Alright, so salmon's been in the smoker for about 5 hours. It's pretty much done. The last thing we need to do is glaze it. I do a real simple glaze of soy sauce and honey. Once again, I just do about 50-50. If you like it a little sweeter, do more honey, more salty, do more soy sauce. But I just do about 50-50, no real exact measurement. Just pour some honey in there, and I take some soy sauce, and then just stir it up. I use like a rubber brush for this. Just stir it till it's all evenly mixed, best you can. And now we're just gonna lightly brush these fillets with this glaze. This kind of helps it from drying out too much as it sits and gives it a little bit of extra flavor. Looking nice and done. Nice and golden brown. The glaze. Give it a nice coating. Smells super good. This took about just under 5 hours, and I think these tail pieces might be a little overdone, but I kind of like my fish a little on the done side. Once again, that's personal preference. I like mine kind of dry. Some people like theirs more moist. So if you like it more on the moist side, you probably could have done 3.5 to 4 hours on this. And now that we've got them all glazed, I'm just going to let them sit in the smoker for about another 20-30 minutes, and they will be done. So that's it. Simple smoked salmon. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but this is a pretty easy standby. I haven't gotten too many complaints. Alright, they've been glazing for about 20-30 minutes, so they should be all done now. Pull them out and see what we got. That does not look too bad. Alright, so there's the finished product.
Let's give her a test.
That is good. Tastes like ham. That's delicious. So yeah, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Anything you do differently, any mistakes we made. If you like this recipe, you try it at home, give us a like, and if you can, subscribe to Danny's channel. Good fishing.
Links will be down in the video description. Make sure you head down there, check out Nate's Instagram as well as other social, website, all that good stuff. My links are also down there. Thanks guys, check you soon.